Hello, I'd like to show you something very cool and unique today. This is a one-of-a-kind, as far as the universe has let me know at this point, amp from 1952. It was made by a radio technician named Warren Edward Grable in Akron, Ohio. I bought it from a guy who has a YouTube channel. His name's Uncle Doug. He does and has been doing amp repairs for decades. He's extremely knowledgeable if you want to learn anything about tube amps or anything that's tangentially related to tube amps or even solid state amp technology. I highly recommend checking out his channel. I learned pretty much everything I know from there. It's a great resource, and he has started to get rid of some items that he's had sitting around forever. This is one of those. This is something he bought off eBay and restored. Very minimally. He kept it in pretty much the exact same condition. There are 3 different capacitors, which I'll show you, and he made adapters for these old plugs, which predate the 1/4-inch standard instrument jack. So yeah, I'm going to start off just playing it a little. The first signal chain running into it is going to be my 1989 Squier Strat through a Boss DS1 distortion and an Memory Man, 90s Memory Man, and then a little digital reverb from a Line 6 modeling pedal into this. So I'll play that, and then we'll get into it, and I'll show you exactly why this amp is so unique and why I'm so excited to have it. Awesome, so here it is, the Warren Edward Grable amp from 1952. I've taken the top lid off. This thing runs pretty hot. There's scorch marks on the inside of that top cover. But Uncle Doug's actually already done a video kind of covering the basics of this, so I don't want to repeat too much of what he said, but I do want to, for anyone who's less familiar with tube amps or this specific era of manufacturing, I definitely wanted to cover some of this stuff because it's really unique, and it's truly like a time capsule of a very specific era. So when you pop this top off, the first thing that you'll notice, and even before, just with the general chassis and makeup of it, this is very distinctly made up of post-World War II US-made components. We have UTC transformers here, we have RCA tubes, GE tubes, Sprague capacitors, all made very, very well in a lot of Midwest cities and some in upstate New York, some in New England. These faceplates are from a company called Croname in Chicago, who manufactured radio faceplates. So this is a very durable, very well-packed, compact amplifier. I mean, he's fit a lot of preamp tubes. You have the 6L6 power tubes over here. There's this very bizarre relay tube, which acts as a protection circuit. It's actually no longer being used in the context of the amp, but Uncle Doug left it there, which obviously we're very grateful for, because this was not made in an assembly line. This was made by an individual who, experimented with things and tried out things and really came up with something unique and beautiful. So I'm gonna flip this over and open it up, and we'll see just how well made this amp is. Awesome, so I've flipped the Grable amp onto its head. And I really don't think you have to have much technical knowledge of guitar amps or electrical wiring in general to really just be able to appreciate how beautiful this is. I mean, just on a pure aesthetic basis. This is the work, and many people immediately pointed this out on Uncle Doug's video, but this is the work of someone with a military radio background, someone who was a ham radio enthusiast, both of which were, you know, brand new technologies. For Warren, you know, he was born in 1920, so this was something that he saw come to fruition and really just mastered. We have more American-made components. We have this Thorderson filter choke, a Stancor, possibly other filter choke. We have these Amphenol connectors, which were used in Hammond organs, more Sprague capacitors, a Mallory capacitor. The only components that have been changed are this electrolytic capacitor and two capacitors underneath this little tree. Then there's this little relay over here, which is connected to this port. I can't think of a good use for it. I guess it could have been some kind of remote, but really beats me. Yeah, I would love to be able to trace the schematic of this amp out. Unfortunately, he used the exact same color wire for the whole thing, and it's very carefully tucked away. So maybe someday when I'm feeling very patient and responsible, I'll go through and actually pick this thing apart. But as of now, I think we can all just appreciate it for what it is. Just as a brief peek behind the curtain into reality, I hate this. I can't stand talking to no one and pretending like I'm talking. It's miserable. I hate it. But I want to tell you about this thing. So using a newspaper archiving software, I was able to track down Warren Edward Grable. He was born in 1920 in Akron, Ohio. He worked at a stereo shop in 1940 called Summit Sound Systems, and that was in Akron, Ohio. You can actually, this is the building where it is now. It was that little brick building. And in 1942, he enlisted in the military. He was the top student in a code and radio class, and was even mentioned in a newspaper. Where I was able to find a photo of the man himself. This is him, Warren Edward Grable, a complete stranger I am now tangentially involved with, and I really love doing that. That's why I'm on these newspaper archiving programs. There are a couple like strange individuals who have brushed up against, you know, other than these brief moments of brushing up against tragedy or greatness or historical events, went on to live pretty unremarkable lives. And that's kind of the case here. Not saying he wasn't a great guy or an intelligent guy, but, you know, he's not a guy who made something beautiful and was able to capitalize on it or expand upon his ideas. He is a person who made a beautiful work of art, probably for a school auditorium or a church, maybe for himself, but we'll never know. And I think there's something really cool about that. So that's about all I have to say about the amp. I'd like to run some more sounds through it. This is fun. This is a Russian mic from 1959 running through the amp, so you're hearing pure 50s sound on my voice. Yeah, the rest of the video will basically be just me playing through it and letting you hear some stuff. If anyone wants to hear something specific or has questions, feel free to reach out, and I'll answer to the best of my ability.